My name is Riddle, and I've been cosplaying for about 14 years. I was born in Canada, but recently moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see, I've done over 60 costumes. I've been fortunate to work on actually a couple films as well due to my costuming experience. So I got to work on Big Mama's House 3 and X-Men First Class. I was part of a big team, and we would work with like the specialty costumes. I also do charity work. I developed a group called Cosplay for a Cause, and we raised over $30,000 for the Japanese Red Cross when the tsunami hit. As well as there's a show airing on Sci-Fi called Heroes of Cosplay, and I am one of the cast members on that show. So I'm a big advocate of craftsmanship. I love cosplay. I'm a big anime fan. I love video games. I just love all aspects of cosplay. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I love food too. I am cosplayed as Rosette from an anime called Chrono Crusade. It takes place in like the 1930s, and she's kind of like essentially a nun that fights crime or kills demons. So it's an older anime. I guess it's a number of years old now, but I just really like the design, and I really want to try to ground it. So I actually got like actual military gear and tried to get like real gloves. There's marker marks. I'm paying attention to that. But and I sculpted all the pieces, so all these are custom, and then the clock, and so it's actually a really comfortable costume. It's it's anime. This is Otakuthon, big anime convention. So I want to wear something anime that everyone would appreciate. I started cosplaying because of Halloween. I just gotten into some anime, and I really wanted to dress up as these really cool characters I'd seen, and no one had any idea who it was. I didn't even know what cosplay was. I didn't see it on the internet. I thought I was like, man, I'm so innovative. I'm dressing up as a cartoon character. But then I discovered other people did it, and it's addictive. You can't stop. But I think the great thing about it is you can participate at any level. You can, if you want to make everything yourself, you can. Or if you just want to buy something, you can. But it's a way that like fans can show appreciation for their fandom. Not all of us can draw like really amazing characters or write stories or sing the songs. So it allows us to express the shows we love, and then when people see you as the character, they have a reason to come and talk to you. They're like, oh man, you love Death Note? I love Death Note. And then it sort of like opens up this like communication line, which is great because a lot of people in the geek community are really introvert and shy. But if you can get them talking about something they love, they just open up, and you become like friends forever because you're like, we both love this series. It's awesome. So I do love cosplay for that, and you learn a lot of amazing skills. I learned how to do makeup because there were years where I would look at my photos and I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with that photo? I look awful. I wasn't wearing makeup. I had to learn kind of how to pose better. You learn how to sew, sculpt, style wigs, and it's just like it's. So there's so many things you can learn. So I think cosplay is great in that way, and you can do it at any age. There's all ages of characters, and anyone can participate. Was it 17? I think I started when I was 17. Okay. So yes, that was a long time ago. There's a very old anime called Devil Hunter Yoko, very old. And then the next one after that was Lena from, was it? Yeah, it was Lena from Slayers, Lena Inverse. And I did my crossplay, which was Kenshin. So those are kind of my first three. I'd love to revisit a couple of them just to see how I would do it differently. I would do it a lot differently. Right now, my favorite character, I just love wearing Snow White. It's very comfortable shoes, which is very important. Kids love it. Adults love it. I can wear really comfortable underwear. I don't have to worry about anything crazy like that. And it's just like people just light up when they see it, and it's sort of like it's multi-genre. Someone who's not an anime fan or a comic book fan will generally know who Snow White is. So it's just a really good feeling. But yeah, when the kids come up to you and they think you're Snow White and they grab your hand and they tell you about their day, it is such an amazing feeling. Yeah, it's unlike anything I had prior to, so I thought it was great. The most challenging cosplay, surprisingly, is my black cat. I had never really done a bodysuit. I wanted it to look a certain way. It got to the point where I had to actually go to a friend for help. And then I didn't take into account I needed to sit down. So it's all this like tight leather, but no stretchy bits. So you can't sit down in it. And it's so fitted, like, if you gain any kind of weight, you can't get it on. And it was just a real like learning process, because I was trying to really do something different. I was trying to make an interesting looking costume, and I had never worked in that material, but since then, you know, I've learned a lot from them. But yeah, Black Cat has like a dark spot on my heart, because I think in total it took about 5 years from when I wanted to do it to when I actually wore it to a convention. Yeah, on and off though, like working on it and then just throwing it in the corner and being like, oh, it's character, never, and then getting. Would I do Black Cat again? Oh yeah, I want to redo it so I can sit down. My dream costume has been my dream costume since the beginning, pretty much, since the conception of cosplay to me, was Bubblegum Crisis. It's this character named Pris. She's got this really awesome, hard, like armored suit, and that is my dream costume, and I hope in the next couple of years to actually be able to do it. Like, I feel like I've leveled up my skills enough to attempt this in a way that in the way that I want to do it, because I mean, so often you want to do costumes, you just don't have the ability at the time, and you can either go to somebody who has the ability, or if you want to do it yourself, you just keep practicing. So yeah, there's a joke we have that you got to level up your skills to get to the good costume. The reason I haven't started it is it would be a very expensive costume, and I have a lot of other materials for other costumes that I'm like, I need to take care of these first. But I've started working on like the way I want it to look, because I'm going to translate it. It's not going to be directly off the page. So it's like when you think of Iron Man, you see Iron Man in the comic book, and then you see Iron Man in person, you're like, oh, they added like a lot of stuff. So I kind of want to do that with Pris, and yeah, it's just a commitment, because then I have to get a new body cast, and then I have to make sure I maintain that shape, for lack of a better word. Because if I'm sculpting the armor and it has to be very specific, I cannot gain or lose any weight. So it's gonna be, and maybe I'm a little worried that if I do it, if you do your dream costume, do you move on? Yeah, what is your next one? Like, what keeps you going? Like, I know I want to say I won't stop cosplaying, but I might be so burnt out and be like, I've done it and I'm done. I'm going out on a high note. But, you know, there's always that little fear in the back of your head that like, oh, I did my dream costume, I'm done. I don't think that'll happen though. I'm very fortunate, and I do have a workshop, but it's right beside my house. So I live in a loft, so I just rent the space right beside my loft, and I had originally started doing costumes in my house, but when you start working with chemicals like fiberglass and things like that, it gets really stinky, and it's sometimes not safe. Like, you have to wear respirators and stuff, but the material is still in the air. It's going to get on your counters. It's going to get on your clothes. So I moved into the workshop, and I kind of do everything there. I have all the power tools in there. And also it helps you kind of walk away from the situation. Like, if you're working in your workshop and you get frustrated, you can leave and go home and you don't have to stare at it, and then, you know, you can come back and approach it. But yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky. I know people who work in their basements or their garages, or, you know, they're stuck in a little room and they're trying to craft, and whenever I'm making costumes, literally all the materials just explode all over the place. It's a mess. So having a workshop is very, very helpful. It's a show being bought by Sci-Fi. It basically follows me and 9 cast members, so there's 8 girls and 1 guy, and it basically follows us to different conventions. They came to our house, they watch us make the costumes, sort of get inspiration from the costumes, and then they follow us to the convention, sort of, essentially they call it like a docu-series. It's like a documentary but a series. And, like, are we in the hotel finishing up at the last minute? Or are we going to the con, enjoying the con? How do we feel prior to the convention? Do we win? Do we lose? Like, we compete with everybody else. It's not just a competition with ourselves. And there's no elimination. Like, it's not like each episode, like, one of us is exiled to Cosplay Island and, has to make something out of bamboo leaves. So it's so supposed to give an insight to the world of competing in cosplay, and everyone understands there's many aspects of cosplay. There's like the photo shoots and just hanging out with your friends, but they really want to focus on the competition portion. So that's what all of us do, and not all of us are in each episode. I think I'm in episode 2 and 3 and 5 and 6, and so watch only those episodes. And it's the first time cosplay's been seen in mainstream media, and there is a learning curve. Like, the production wasn't familiar with the intricacies of cosplay. I mean, I'm not even often familiar with the intricacies of cosplay. So we were trying to teach them and tell them, like, it takes a while to get into a costume. It takes a long time if it's a new costume. Like, you can't just go do this, or, it was a big learning curve. So, but I was, we all worked really hard. It was very flattering to be part of it, and I hope it leads to more TV shows, like a Project Runway, or, something like that. The only thing is, like, it would be difficult, and that was one point we had brought up. If you stick everybody in a house making costumes, everybody sort of works at a different speed or with different materials, or, a lot of this is our hobby. So for us to, like, just leave to go live in a house for a hobby, we can't quit our jobs. So, and for me, it was really hard because I was juggling 2 jobs at the time and tight deadlines with the show, because it was filmed between the end of February to beginning of June. So it was, I'm a big reality fan, so it's like my crack. So it was cool to be part of it, It's hard to, it was difficult, but I wasn't really doing anything that I wasn't normally doing, except that it was on film. So if I make a mistake, it's on film. I can't just be like, no, this turned out perfect, no problems whatsoever. Yeah, edit the mistakes out. So there was that, like, fear of, like, when people make cosplays, sometimes they're afraid to admit that it's research. You're gonna make mistakes. It doesn't turn out perfect every time, the first time, but you don't want to look incompetent. So it was hard for me to kind of put myself out there, because I was like, they are gonna see the mistakes that I made, and I hope people understand that everybody goes through this. There are very few people who can do it right the first time, and especially if you're challenging yourself and you're doing new things, it was a little embarrassing, because I was like, oh, I just messed that up, and they just totally caught that on tape. The longest is Black Cat. That 5 years. The shortest would probably 2 of them. The USO girl from Captain America. And then I was on the premiere of Sci-Fi Face Off prior to Heroes of Cosplay. And you can kind of see me in this original ball gown type outfit. And I only had like 3 days to make that. Yeah, so that was like a deadline I put on myself. I was like, they asked me to be part of it. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I love Face Off. And they're like, it needs to be original character. Can you do it? And I was like, I will make it work. Yeah, Tim Gunn style. I'll make it work. And I had like a sculpted headpiece, and then, had this corset and this open skirt, and then I had to make sort of like break down this hoop skirt and add all this stuff to it. So it was a challenge for me, because I am very slow when I make costumes, because I overthink everything, and I swear I do every I do every way but the right way. I do the right way at the end. I do every way before that.